and the silver elephant could return in time to protect the camel, and it doesn't look like it would be an immediate hostage threat. The only question I would wonder about there is then if the gold elephant moves to c5 and then the horse moves up to d6, are you giving up an attack that way? Because the only thing I don't like about, I like putting my camel into a position like b3, but I would much prefer it if I had like a more allied, especially an advanced silver rabbit or something. I wouldn't like it where it's completely immobile. The silver camel wouldn't be able to move west, south, or east from that square, so it's kind of in trouble if the gold camel comes over. So I don't know. I'd be a little tentative here to charge straight in.
Yeah, I don't really see either of these moves working well for silver. Yeah, either pushing into b3 or pulling the horse with the camel moving to c4. I think just gold's elephant moving to c5 and gold's camel to b3 would not be great for silver. Silver could protect the camel, but yeah, I think gold would still be in very good shape. So on move 16s, Tuks decides to pull a rabbit to b4. Well, that's not a very strong threat. The rabbit can just step aside to a4 with just one step, and this leaves 2 steps to push the silver h5 rabbit into h4, and probably one other step to move the gold elephant into g5 to avoid a cat flip. So I think this cat flip would be much more problematic after a silver rabbit has been pulled. So yeah, gold can decide to use 3 steps to push this rabbit down once on move 17g, and the other obvious move would be to not push the rabbit but to move the camel to b4 to get a strong defensive position along the b file, and then only try to establish a frame on f3, and possibly Fritzlein is going to go for the camel to b5 move, camel to b4 move. Sorry, that would be a very well.
Yeah, on the surface it looked like Tuks was trying to pull a rabbit up, but of course the problem is that once the rabbit returns to a4, he has no way of pulling that rabbit up unless there's only 2 ways to pull that rabbit up. One is to move the silver camel to b4, and the other one is to move his a5 rabbit out of the way so it can be pulled up the a file, but neither one looks very appealing at this time. So Tuks just pulled out of his western attack. He's got nothing to show for his western attack other than a rabbit that's been pulled up, but the rabbit's going to be fairly safe at a4. I think the only thing that would save him maybe is if the gold horse moves to h6 and then the gold elephant moves to g5. That would open an opportunity maybe for the silver camel to later move down to b4, and there it would have a chance of pulling up either the horse or the rabbit. So Tuks will have to wait for the elephant to move a little bit out of the way, I think, before. No, actually, I wouldn't even like that. So I wouldn't even like the idea of, even if the elephant were on g5. No, I guess it's still okay. Yeah, if the elephant's on g5, it's still okay to move the camel to b4. So that's what Tuks should have to wait for. Other than that, I don't think he has much play on the west side anymore. No, and actually the elephant didn't move to g5, it moved closer to the west, so now even the horse is in a bit of trouble there. Well, not too much trouble, because the silver elephant could target the h5 gold horse if the gold elephant targets the b5 silver horse, so it's still okay. But so the the gold horse now is pushing down a rabbit. I guess silver's one of his options here is to just flip that gold cat up to g5, and that would create threats against 2 gold pieces simultaneously. I think I would try that. Earlier I didn't like the idea of a cat flip, but now I like it a little bit better.
Yeah, that looks very strong. I suppose Fritzlein's idea might have been to push the silver b5 horse into b4 with his elephant, should Tuks flip the cat, but that wouldn't work because Tuks would be getting both a dog and a cat in return for his horse, I think, and that would be plenty of compensation, especially since gold's eastern wing would be completely depleted with just a horse on h5 and nothing else. So silver's advanced rabbit would turn into a very, very strong feature for silver. So flipping the cat is definitely very, very strong here. I think gold would have to try to withdraw the cat, but he could just withdraw the cat to f4, possibly with the elephant moving to f5. But still, silver could push this f4 cat into e5 with his elephant, and gold would be very, very hard pressed to even not lose that cat, and he would have to look out for the f3 trap and try to save the cat, but that's maybe not even possible. So I think that might have been a mistake by Fritzlein here, and actually I am starting to like silver's position a lot, because if there is any kind of fight, then this h4 rabbit, this advanced rabbit down the h file by silver is going to be very, very helpful.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm starting to like silver's position a lot better as well. The only thing he's going to need to do at some point is get his western pieces, I guess, to safety, because without a western attack, you don't actually want your silver horse on b5. But other than that, yeah, his eastern front's looking a lot better. Earlier, I thought that he was just going to sacrifice the h5 pawn h5 rabbit, using time to build up a western attack. But now it's the opposite. It looks like he's going to build strength on the east side and turn his silver h4 rabbit into a bit of a strength. So, yes, I don't know. I'd still say the game's fairly even, but silver's come back from a slight positional disadvantage to fairly even, I think.
Well, I'm extremely worried about this g5 cat. Really, not being able to withdraw the cat to the third rank is very hard for gold. I just don't see any better move than moving the cat to f4 on move 18g and moving the elephant over to... Oh, nice. So he's moving the elephant to f5, but he's pulling a cat in the process. And this avoids the gold cat from being pushed into e5. I think that would have been just crushing to get the cat pushed into e5, especially since there was a silver horse on b5, and there is a silver horse on b5, and so the cat would have no path to withdraw towards safety. But here, silver cannot push the cat, and that's nice. So actually, Fritzlein just saved the day here with his 19g, with his 18g. But I still like silver anyway. Silver gets some kind of attack. Maybe he can just push the cat to e4 and move the horse down to g5, following with the rabbit and planning to get some kind of attack in the east. Maybe that's an option. The other option is to just push the cat into d4. And well, gold could just unfreeze the cat and get the cat back, but still silver would have the momentum.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually like the second plan of pushing the cat all the way to d4, because I think my plan there would be to first push the cat to d4, then after gold uses steps to get the cat to safety, I would move my elephant to e3, and then maybe charge my silver horse down the g file down to g3. That would be my two-step plan. And I agree with you that that silver rabbit on h4, which was once a liability, it's a real strength. I think that if both sides have elephant and horse attacks on the east side, it hugely favors silver to have that advanced h4 rabbit. I mean, not only is it good in itself to have an advanced rabbit, but it's also it's going to prevent the gold rabbits from advancing up the h file. So it's a double advantage for silver there.
Yes, absolutely. And so he's playing this move, and I agree completely with what you said. And now gold has to use probably 3 steps to withdraw the cat, and 1 step to save the f2 dog. So maybe withdraw the cat to c3 and move the camel to e3. But then silver would just push into e3, pushing the gold camel away from f3 and starting to charge down the g file with the horse. And yeah, gold is in trouble. Generally, whenever you are pulling a rabbit, then any kind of piece flip, of cat flip or of dog flip along the g file is usually very, very bad, very painful to meet. because the cat path is blocked by the silver advanced rabbit, so the cat could not have tried to withdraw through the H file, and withdrawing through the center is usually rather hard to do, and silver can take the momentum and get some attack going around f3, and well, that's very tough for gold here.
Yeah, so I guess the other thing that Fritzlein might think about too is that here on 19G is that if he just defends his f3 trap and then the silver elephant pushes over to c4, let's say, pushing the gold cat up to c5, he might be thinking that he'll capture the silver cat anyway. No, that's actually very risky, so he probably would think about that. So yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be necessary to defend the gold cat and protect the f3 trap. So yeah, so I think Fritz has been using his time a little more conservatively through the opening moves. I mean, Tuks is down to 57 seconds, whereas Fritzlein had a lot more reserve. So now I think he's starting to slow down his thinking, because he realizes that the silver horse is now. Earlier in the game, we were worried that the silver horse was going to get pulled down by the gold elephant down to g5. Now the silver horse probably wants to voluntarily charge down the g file to take advantage of that h4 rabbit to build a strong attack with the elephant. So, and so Fritzlein, I guess, saw the long-term danger there. He's moving his camel east. He saw that he was being weakened on the eastern side. So now I think it's worthwhile. One thing that silver could do here on 19S is use 4 steps to move his horse to c4, 2 steps, and then 2 more steps to pull the cat up to c4 with the horse ending on c5. And the reason I like that as a double-edged move is that you're creating a threat against the gold cat, but you're also opening a lane for the camel. Right now the camel can't infiltrate to b3 because its own horse is in the way, so if the horse creates some kind of threat, it creates the initiative for the camel later.
Yes, indeed, that's an interesting move. So I'd like to answer a question from Mika Jester on the previous move, on move 19G. Pulling the silver horse to g5 would have been actually detrimental for gold, because the silver horse is actually very threatening, and helping the silver horse get into g3 would have been very, very dangerous and strategically very bad for gold. So actually, I would have liked maybe try to trade the gold cat for the silver advanced rabbit. Maybe on the previous move, pushing the rabbit into h3 and maybe relocating the horse into g3 to avoid any kind of silver attack, and then just abandoning the cat and trading it in return for the rabbit. I think that might have been a lesser evil for gold. But anyway, he played this move, relocating the camel towards f3. And so, yeah, silver has very interesting possibilities. He can attack this gold cat, pulling it to c4, and the pattern strong piece on e4 and strong piece on b4 makes it very, very hard for gold to withdraw the cat. But also just pushing the camel away, pushing the camel into d3, and starting to advance the silver horse to g5 and then into g3 would be very interesting, equally interesting. And so he decides to go for your move, Greg. Good call.
Well, that's slightly different than I was thinking of. Well, the one I was thinking of was moving the horse to c5 in order to free up the b file for the silver camel. But he might have a different idea. He's first of all creating a threat against the gold cat, but the real idea might be to pull the a4 rabbit up, because if the cat were to somehow get to d3, for example, the horse could then flip a rabbit from a4 to b5. But to protect that gold cat, I think he's actually going to have to move his elephant to the east, to the west. Sorry, is that correct? If he uses 3 steps to get his elephant to c5, that might be his best way of protecting the cat. But I'm not sure. Yeah. Is there any other way to protect the cat? Because if that's the only way to protect the cat, then it negates my idea of flipping the rabbit up later.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He could be thinking of pushing the cat into c5 with his elephants to avoid capture temporarily. That would be very dangerous, though. I don't know, maybe that's doable. Maybe pushing the silver cat into c5